You get to go see the Gardos. Did you see the Chargers Facebook post, by the way?
I just assumed it was fake when you sent it to me.
No, it's real. I'm looking at their official Facebook right now. Boy, they just don't care.
So they left that up?
Yeah.
That was not a mistake?
Yes.
Or it didn't get hacked?
No.
Did they let Jim Harbaugh take over the account?
So it's like okay, Puro Panache Chargers is how it is. So this is in Spanish. And it translates on your Facebook to full of effing Chargers. And I'm sitting there going, whoa, they really went for it there.
Hey, you know what? Sometimes you want that. You want that unbridled honesty.
You get it.
You want them talking like real people talk. Normal people.
My God.
Because that's how normal people talk. When the Browns win a football game, how do normal people talk?
Well, how Kevin said it. Kevin said it in the post game. He let it fly.
Yeah.
How about that bleeping team win?
We didn't talk about him and Andrew Berry. They had kind of it started out awkward the way that they were going to embrace, but then you saw both of them like, yeah, we just pulled that off. Absolutely. Because they knew it. They knew they got one robbed from them in week 1.
Yeah, they were excited.
And they stole it back.
Yeah.
With that performance in week 3.
Yeah, I'm glad they're happy when they win, because boy, if they would have just been standing around, I think people would have been going, why are you not just, why aren't you guys excited? We're excited. Why aren't you guys excited? So I'm glad they're excited for, which, I'm starting to see a little bit of an argument for Andrew Berry. I just got to flesh it out more before I make it, because there is an out here for Andrew Berry that people ain't going to like, but we'll talk about that at another time here. They're saying we're being too soft on Joe. Is this true?
We are.
Should we be harder on Joe Flacco?
We definitely are.
Well, what are they saying? Usually I pay attention to these things and you don't. I got to tell you. What are they saying about us being too soft on Joe Flacco?
If this were any other quarterback.
Okay.
If it were any of the other quarterbacks we've had over the years, we would have been crushing the QB play. We would have been a little bit more proactive in talking about the next man up. Okay. In this case, it's Dylan Gabriel. And I've tried to dig into the psychology of why I feel the way I do, because he's been really bad. He was good in the Cincinnati game, and the last 2 games, he's been horrific. It really has. Now, with that said, got to give him credit for that pass to David Njoku to get him lined up and have a chance to win the game in a game they had no business winning. So I'll give him credit for that. But overall, it's you're starting to really think like how long can we play like this, get quarterback play like this? Because you've had the best defense in the NFL. I don't even think it's particularly close. And you're 1-2, and you very easily could be 0-3.
But why is that being too soft on Joe?
Because if it were anybody else, we'd be saying go to the backup. Wouldn't we?
Didn't I already say go to the backup halfway through the game? It's results based. The veteran is there for one purpose. It's to hold down the fort until the season gets out of hand, and then you can let your rookies play. Guys, if we were in a different situation, if it were Jackson Dart, and we had taken a guy number 1, like in the first round, I'd be saying a different thing. This is a 3rd and a 5th round pick. They're not going to be as ready, or you don't expect them to be as ready as what a first round guy is supposed to be. That's part of what taking a guy in the first round means. So I'm not trying to be mean-spirited, or excuse me, I'm not trying to be soft towards Joe. I just don't want to be unrealistic either.
Like if this were Josh McCown, if it were Jake Delhomme.
If this were Josh McCown and Jake Delhomme, I'd be saying the exact same thing. No, you know what? That's wrong. I'd be saying most of the exact same thing because they didn't lead us to the playoffs 2 years ago. Right. So Joe does get a bit of a special dispensation because he took us to the playoffs 2 years ago. But there's been nothing here where I've denied the truth about who is going to be taking over the quarterback position sooner than later. I said him game by game by now. What more do people want me to say? Do they want me to say he's not a good-looking guy? This group of fans that I don't even know if they actually exist, or I'm afraid we're giving a megaphone to the vast minority of people out there about Joe Flacco.
You think that's a minority opinion that quarterback play has been pretty bad?
No, the quarterback play has been pretty bad. But to say that we're being too soft on Joe Flacco, I think that that's the minority of people out there. I don't think that's a majority. I've only been honest about Joe Flacco. Right now, he's looked older than what he certainly did 2 years ago, and I know he's technically younger 2 years ago, so that's not saying much. But boy, after the first game that he played against Cincinnati, he looked pretty sharp. He looked like he had a strong enough arm. There were some things there that obviously needed to be cleaned up, but we looked at it week one. He looked as old as the hills 2 weeks ago against Baltimore, and he looked pretty old on Sunday. He didn't look that good on Sunday. It looked like he wasn't seeing the field on Sunday. All those things are still true. I said all that yesterday.
And
so where am I being too soft on Joe?
And obviously he's going up against a really good defense, one of the best in the NFL, at least that's the projection. And let's be honest about his wide receiver situation. We've all kind of seen it's probably one of the worst in the NFL. He's got a rookie running back who missed training camp. Like it's not as if he's got this bevy of weapons. And we like Harold Fannin. I mean, obviously, there's a lot to like there. But, that was his third game. So I'm going back to 2018. Like, I was absolutely calling for Tyrod Taylor, whatever, to be out of there. I mean, they tied against Pittsburgh in week one.
You had a first overall pick behind him.
But why does that matter for how we perceive the QB? I'm trying to get into my own psychology
because that guy, number one, is supposed to be more ready to play than third round, than 94 and 144. Isn't that common sense? Why is that not common sense? What am I missing here?
But that doesn't change how we evaluate Joe Flacco.
Yes, it does.
He's been, the last 2 games, he's been borderline unplayable in today's NFL, right?
Yes. But my issue isn't with Joe as much as it is they must not be ready to play yet. Dylan must not be ready. If Dylan Gabriel was number 1 overall, well, if he were worth the number 1 overall pick, and he was taken number 1 overall by the Browns or whenever, number 2 or 3 or whatever it is, then you'd be beating the drum for him to go in. You probably would have beat the drum in preseason for him to go in and play because he's supposed to be ready. Third round guys are not supposed to be ready week 4 of the NFL season. So it's up to Dylan to get himself ready. And more than likely, he'll be thrust into there sooner than later. Too soon rather than too late. So this is based on them developing their 2 young quarterbacks. It's not as much Joe. Joe is, right now, I said, I would still start Joe because it's results based and you're 1 and 2 and you're certainly not out of it. I think a lot of fans would say, Kenny, they're out of it. Yeah, I know. They're probably going to be out of it. But as of right now, it's when do the other guys get developed? That's the issue.
What do you think?
When they get developed, then we'll have that conversation. We'll put them out there.
Obviously, Daryl was on the station multiple times yesterday.
And I hope they're really close.
What do you think of how Daryl told the afternoon show, he's like, the minute you go to the backup in this situation, that is waving the white flag to all the veterans on the team?
I think it feels that way. When you put the third round guy in there by the end of September, you're waving the white flag to the rest of the team.
I saw the counter argument to this, and I want to get your thoughts.
What's that?
Well, if they stick with Joe Flacco, that's waving the white flag. If he plays like this.
Why is that waving the white flag?
Because he's not good. He has not been good.
What about a rookie? Guys, Joel Bitonio's been here how long? 12 years? How many idiot quarterbacks has he seen in his past? Not that Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders are idiots, but go with me on this. I think that a guy like Joel Bitonio, who is out there with a bad back and playing through the season as much as he can already while it's September 23rd for crying out loud, I think that you'd be much more thinking that you're waving the white flag by playing this rookie a third round guy than you would be with Joe Flacco still being out there.
Now,
veterans are going to count on other veterans. They've seen it. Yeah. They've been there. They know what this league is. They're more apt to trust other veterans.
Now, I have to admit, part of my bias in arguing the opposite of what I'm playing devil's advocate with you about is I just don't think Dylan Gabriel's good. I don't know why they drafted him.
I think he's smart.
And I don't know if it's that he's not ready to play. Well, I just don't expect him to be good when he plays. What you're going to do, see, this is the issue, what you have to do with him, is that Joe is, and you have a programmatic non-fit in so many ways, and this is where the whole holding on to Kenny thing
would have actually worked if you were still out there trying to win football games. And again, I didn't get an answer about whether or not if Kenny is Kevin's guy, then who knows? I don't care what I think about Kenny Pickett. You guys all know I think he's not good, but it doesn't matter what I think. It matters what they think. If they felt that he could have helped win football games, what the hell's a 5th-round pick when you're trying to hold on to jobs here and trying to win football games? But let's roll with this, right? What do you got to do when you put Dylan Gabriel in? You got to change the offense up a bit. You have to move the pocket because you're not going to be able to see right over the middle because you're 5'9". So you have to move the pocket left and right, get the thing rolling so I can open up windows to one side of the field. Now, I don't want you throwing all over the field anyway, so you're going to have to do that regardless with a lot of guys, but you got to move that pocket and get him freed up so he can hit guys along the sidelines, so he can hit guys over the middle a little bit, not going back on the other side of the field. So your offense is going to have to change.
It changes the foundation of, your protections.
Yes.
It just gets them into a new place, a new identity.
And if it's too soon, remember, it's also you go back to last year when we were talking about who and how he was running himself into sacks, and there were guys going, he doesn't know where he's going. There were offensive linemen, I'm not going to name names, who would say he's running himself into sacks, he doesn't know where he's going. It's easier when a guy knows what he's doing back there, so it makes it easier to block for him. Now you're going to put your offensive line that's had to make 2 significant changes here over the last couple of weeks, because now I don't know when Jack Conklin's going to go back in, and DeJuan Jones is done for the season.
And Conklin's not able to fight through injuries the way Batonio
is,
obviously.
Now I'm going to have to put KT Levinson at one spot. I'm going to have to put Cornelius Lucas on another spot. I almost said Cornelius Bennett like we were back in the 90s. I'm going to have to put Cornelius Lucas at another spot. I have to let that gel. Then I can start to think about bringing guys in. It's not just whether or not we want to see Dylan Gabriel. We can get to that level, and we can do what the Browns teams have done in the past, and more than likely we will just get to that level. But good God, you got to give the young man a chance. And I'd be saying the same for other young quarterbacks on that roster that I'm not going to say for SEO purposes because I don't want to give Keith the satisfaction. Is that so hard? It's not about being too nice to Joe Flacco. It's about being honest with the young guys that you have. That's what it's about. People just say, well, let's get somebody else in there. Why? He can run. He'll help us win games. Will he? Because it takes 11, and he was a 3rd-round guy. So unless he can all of a sudden play hero ball in the NFL the way that only Hall of Famers can do, you're probably going to run into problems. 216-474-0092. Fine. Are we being too nice to Joe? Are we being too soft on Joe? Are we not telling the truth about Joe Flacco? It's not about protecting Joe's feelings. It's about making sure that Dylan Gabriel, while I don't think that he's the future of the football team, it's about making sure that eventually Shedeur Sanders, while probably ain't the future of the football team, it's about giving those guys their best shot to have any success whatsoever with a team that not a lot of people think are going to win a lot of football games. Instead of just, let's just throw them out there. Okay. Because that's worked out in the past for us. We got into a big debate about it. It's not about being nice to Joe. It's not about covering for Joe. Speaking of quarterbacks, the most annoying quarterback in college football, I will tell you who that is at 10:15 Eastern on the emerging podcast scene.
Are you satisfied with the work that Joe has done so far through 3 games?
Absolutely not.
He was good against the bad defense. He was bad against the good defenses.
Probably should be a little harder on him then.
I don't think he was that good.
But would that be good enough? Like, if he struggles against the elite defenses and is good against everybody else, then you'd make the playoffs, wouldn't you?
You say he was good against the bad. Okay, you're asking a bunch of questions. Yeah. Hold on. Answer those and I'll ask mine. Sorry. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, if this continues, like, he should have opportunities against Detroit this week, and then you get into it the rest of the way. We start looking at a lot of winnable games. The Miami game now, and I'm telling you,
yeah, he's 40 though.
He goes up against Carson Wentz in London.
Yeah,
like, I just feel like our defense will win that game now. Like, I've totally shifted my expectations on certain
they're playing the Steelers the week before in Ireland, I believe.
Yes,
so they're just staying there. They're going to be. I would assume that's good for them. Acclimated to
Don't you have to cross some body of water over there? I'm not.
Yeah, familiar. But it's like it's
is it the English
It's like
Channel?
Going from here to Windsor.
Yeah, but is it like the English Channel or whatever it is?
You got to swim it. The whole team has to.
I don't know what it is. I'm sorry.
They got 6 hours. They better get their asses across. Or you're not going to be at the game on Sunday.
I have no idea what it is. Okay. Now that you guys have answered your questions, let me say this: we set a low bar here for quarterbacks. So I don't think that Joe, going back to the Cincinnati game, what did we give? Did we give like a grade for the Cincinnati game for Joe? Or do we just say like B or something like that?
I think so.
Okay. If you gave him a B, we also know that we set a low bar here. So if we were fans of about 10 other teams that have had good quarterback play in the last decade, I think that we would be probably pretty disappointed in his performance against the Cincinnati Bengals.
Why disappointed?
Because
the 2 turnovers weren't his fault. They should have been caught. And then it changes his stat line completely.
You're telling me you can't drive your offense down the field at all? Remember, like we've seen quarterbacks like Josh Allen has been able to drive offenses down the field. And I'm saying this is coming from a different perspective. If we had a better quarterback perspective over the last decade, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, Joe Flacco's got to be dropped in here. We're going to set a naturally higher bar. So I could, and you know what? I have to go back and watch the video, and I'm not going to do it because we're on to Detroit by now. But I could see myself that Monday going, hey, instead of getting mad at Andre Schmidt like I did, or mad that we missed kicks, he didn't do it on purpose. Here I am saying it again. He didn't miss it on purpose, but getting mad about missed kicks, I should have went, no, your quarterback play should have been good enough. Your play should have been good enough offense to not put yourself in that position. Their defense is terrible. You lost 17-16. You can't score more than 16 points against that defense. What did Carson Wentz put? Wait a minute. Now here I am doing devil's advocate like you do. This is fun.
I know. I do like it.
What did suck-ass Carson Wentz do the other day against that team?
Remember, you had Judy dropping third down throws. We didn't have Judkins in that game, so we had a third down back that had to go the entire game. That really that should have never been his role in that game. Your receivers have been an issue. You're relying on rookies like Harold Fannin.
But what tells you if we had a better quarterback play over 10 years.
Yeah, DeJuan Jones out there. At left tackle.
I didn't think it was that horrible. It just wasn't that good. But again, if you had a different perspective, we've had terrible quarterback play for the most part for 25 years. So we have a very low bar on passable QB play. So if we said that was good, it probably wouldn't be that good if you and I were on 550 WGR up in Buffalo, or on 105.7 The Fan, or even on 93.7 The Fan at Pittsburgh. Our perspective would be different because we would have had better quarterback play sometime over the last decade. But we hold an exceedingly low bar for Joe. But what I'm getting away from what I really want to say here is that I have to task everybody with trying to pay attention to the readiness for a quarterback they can't see. We're just assuming things. We're assuming because we want to be more entertained. We are assuming that the veterans are going to get tired of being with Joe Flacco. We are assuming that Dillon Gabriel, we got to see Dillon Gabriel. It's just not true. I had a buddy of mine, a longtime buddy of mine that I've known since middle school, my buddy Zach. He texted me during that segment cussing me out. Going, absolutely, we need to see what Dillon Gabriel has. These rookies are college quarterbacks are terrible. Okay, so we're going to talk ourselves into not taking any quarterbacks when we did a 2 first-round pick thing for this coming year to not take a quarterback. We're going to do that again. Guys, get comfortable with one of the QBs because you're going to take one. And I'll tell you what, for Browns fans' sake, I'll say this. You better hope and pray Drew Aller puts it on Oregon on Saturday, and then on November 1st puts it on Ohio State. Because you'll be a lot more comfortable then. You will be so much more comfortable. Because it's classic, more bigger body, drop back guy, doesn't really run. I want to make it as comfortable as possible. Because everybody else, you're going to have questions. Garrett Nussmeier isn't the biggest guy in the world. Garrett Nussmeier leaves throws out there. Lenore Sellers, I do have questions of going from the first guy right to dump off. First read, dump off. First read, dump off. He's got a big arm. He's a hell of an athlete. I want it to be as comfortable as possible for you. So when Dillon Gabriel plays, it's about his readiness to go out and play because his future more than likely is as a backup. Dillon Gabriel is not stopping us from taking a quarterback next year. We're just afraid, again, to take QBs. Because we had our heart broken once and the rest of them suck.
So you don't think if Joe Flacco plays the way he played against Cincinnati in the games upcoming, you don't think that is a recipe for this team playing winning Browns football this year?
They can win. He played well enough against Cincinnati. They lost. They can win. but it's not a recipe for winning Browns football. He doesn't play well enough for you to win. If he would have played well enough for you to win, you'd have won. He didn't play well enough to win. He certainly didn't play well enough to win against Green Bay, and you won. So you were able to rob one, and then the other one we say, well, he should have been 2-1. He didn't play well enough to get that job done. That defense is terrible. You should have been able to score more than 16 points. You should have been able to do more than just having Andre Schmidt trying to save you at the end of the game. You should have. You didn't. So I can blame it on the entire team game. And by the way, I'm saying everything that he would have probably said himself. If things would have been better during the game, we wouldn't have been so mad about the missed kick at the end of that game. So yeah, we set a low bar here. Is that hard enough on Joe Flacco for everybody? Everybody who wants to make a change? And I don't even want to make a change.
It seems that you sound different today than you did. Maybe it's because we've had 2 more games.
Of course.
You sound way different today on Joe Flacco than you did after the Cincinnati
And part
game.
of and a big reason behind that is because I set a low bar for Joe. And the other thing is I don't believe that Dylan Gabriel is yet ready. That nothing they've done has told you that Dylan Gabriel is ready to roll. Somebody just tweeted at me Fernando Mendoza. Hey, I like Fernando Mendoza as much as a lot of people. I know he just had a great performance against Illinois. Maybe we need to see him when a team doesn't have 5 defensive backs getting hurt before a football game. I know they put up 63 points. There were 5 guys out in that secondary.
In a sweater. I'm sitting here talking about
Do it all day.